Okay, this is going to be the lesson number 2 on factoring. We're going to start to get into the components of checking how to factor with 4 terms. We're going to start with that. Okay. What you want to do is you always want to pull up your GCD, and even if you have 4 terms, you should always check it. Okay. So like 2, all right, 3, 2, and 3. All right. Now, when you get 1, that means there's nothing that you can take out, because dividing by 1, it's all going to be the same. Now, they have J. This one has a J, this one has a J, this one does not. So there's no GCF here. Okay? Now, to factor with 4 terms, we make a box. This should look familiar. Okay? We did this with multiplication. So what you're going to do, first term will go here, second, third, fourth. So 2j squared, 3j, okay, plus 3j, plus 2j, plus 3, okay? So you put them in that order, okay? Now, depending on how good your arithmetic skills are, depends on how many times you have to find the GCF. So what we're going to do, in essence, is find the GCF of each column and row, okay? Now I'm going to show you that you definitely want to find this one first horizontally, okay? All right, so from that standpoint, okay, that would be 2, comma 2. So what that's going to be is 2, okay? Now, do they have a letter in common? They do, J. What's the smallest exponent? Well, there's a 1 there. That would be j to the first, okay? J to the first. Now, if I do that down here, okay, I got 3, comma 3. Whoops, I didn't clear out my old one. 3, comma 3 would give me 3, or positive 3. Okay, and then I have a J here. I don't have a J here, so that's all I would have. So that's this side. Okay, now, if you want, okay, all right, you could do it where, so you find them horizontally. Here's the idea. This times this has to give you this, okay? So 2 times what would give me 2? That's going to be 1, okay? J1 added to here to give me 2, there'd have to be a J1 there. Now, if you want to do the GCF here, that's fine. 2, comma 3, whoops. All right, 2, comma 3 is going to be 1, okay? Now, do they have a letter in common? Both have J. Smallest exponent is 1. That's J1 right there. Okay, so so if you can see, 2 times 1 gives me 2. 1 plus 1 gives me 2. Okay? Now I can do this one. All right? 2, all right? 2 comma 3 again. All right, 2 comma 3 again. I already got that up there. It's going to be positive 1. Okay, now this has a J and this doesn't, so that's, I can't do anything else with that. All right? Now, here's how you have to write your factors, okay? All right, so this is a factor, 2j to the first plus 3, and the other one is that top one, and that's, we did that through multiplication before, okay? So here are the steps, all right? All right, fill in the box. Take GCFs from each row. Write factors that are outside. Okay? All right? Very simple. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of more together. All right, so box. Okay? I got first term, second term, that's I to the first, third term, I to the first, fourth term. Okay? I am going to take the GCFs of each row. Okay? You can do it for the whole thing if you want. Okay? It does not matter. If you have multiplication skills, you can do that as well. 6 comma 3 would be 3. They both have an I, and that exponent would be 1. Okay? All right? Now, with this one, with 4, okay, so I'm going to go 4, 2. I'm going to talk about the negative right now. 4 and 2. Okay, it's 2. Now, if your box, and this is important, borders a negative number, then that's got to be negative as well. Okay? All right? It's got to be negative as well. And I'll show you why from the multiplication standpoint. Now, from this one, if I go this way, all right, that's going to be 6 comma 4. 6 comma 4, which is 2. They both have an I, and that smallest exponent is 1. Okay? You could have also got that because 3 times 2 would have to give you 6. 1 and 1 would have to give you 2. Okay? All right, some of you already probably know what this number over here has got to be. Okay? Now, I got -3, or I got 3, and I got 2. That is going to be 1. Now, once again, because there is a negative borders that box, that's got to be a negative, okay? I first, no I, that's what I'd have there, okay? All right, so I got my factors of 3i minus 2, 2i minus 1, okay? Now, once again, you can use multiplication if you need to figure it out, because here's the idea. This time, just like we do normally, this times this has got to give me this. 3i times -1 would give me that. -2 times that gives me this. -2 times -1 gives me that. So that's the way you know you're correct with your factors, is it has to multiply. It's the reverse of the multiplication polynomial properties, okay? All right, we're going to do 2 more, and then I'm going to give you 4 to do on your own. All right, so got my box here. Okay, 4 terms. 2i squared, -4i to the first power, plus 1i to the first, so I'm going to put all those in there, minus 2. Okay? All right? So, I got 2 and 1. 2 comma 1, which is 1. They both have an I, and that would have to be I to the first. So you got to think, 1 times what would have to give me 2? That's got to be 2. All right? We'll get to that in a second. All right, I got 4. All right, got 4 and -2. Or 4 and 2 gives me 2. Now, since this borders a negative box, it's got to be negative. Okay? All right? This has an I, this doesn't, so it's just this. So this times this has got to give me this, which is going to be 2. And the only way I can get that to be I there would be I to the first. Now, if you need to do the GCF, you could. All right, watch what happens. If you do 2 and 4, it's 2. They have an I. So either way you get there is fine. 1i times this would have to give me this, which would have to be +1. Okay? Also, this times this has got to give me that. Okay? All right, once again, you could do the GCF in here. So as much as you want, you can use the calculator. All right, that's got to be a 1, and neither of those have the I squared. So I got 1i minus 2, 2i to the first, plus 1. Okay? Going on to this one. All right, so I got 9i squared minus 3i to the first, j to the first, plus 6i to the first, minus 2j. Okay? Nothing changes. Okay? Nothing changes. So I got, we got 9 and 6. Gives me 3. They both have I. Smallest exponent would be I first. The next one would be 3 and 2. Okay, that's going to be a 1. Now, since it borders a negative, that'd be a negative there. Okay, now, this has an I, but no I here. This has a j to the first, j to the first. So this would have to be j1. Okay? All right. Now, 3i times this would have to give me 9i squared, which would be 3i to the first. Once again, you can do that, or you just sort of systematically figure it out. It's got to be 3. They both have an I. Smallest exponent would be 1. They do not both have a j. Okay? 3i times this would have to give me that, which is going to be 2. And as you can see, we'll figure that out the old-fashioned way. 6, comma, 2 gives me 2. Now this is I to the first, j to the first, so it does not have anything. So 3, I1 minus 1, j1, 3, I1 plus 2. So you can apply the GCF rule for everything, and it helps you factor. Okay? All right? So what I would like you guys to do, okay, is go ahead and pause your video okay, or go to Go Formative, and go ahead and work on these, okay? All right, let's go over these together. Okay, 2i squared, 3i to the first, 6i to the first, and 9. Horizontal row, I got 6 and 2, or 2 and 6, that's 2. They both have an I to the first, okay? Then I got 3 and 9. Okay, 3 and 9. It's going to be 3. This has an I, this doesn't, so there's just a 3 there, that's positive, okay? This one would be 2 and 3, all right? Nothing goes into both 2 and 3, but we can check. It's going to be 1. They both have I, so this would be I to the first. Also, this times this has got to give you that. Okay, this times this has got to give you that, which has got to be 3, right? All right, but let's check it. Okay, 6 with 9. And obviously you see that's 3. This has an I, this doesn't. So 2i to the third, or 2i first, plus 3, 1i to the first, plus 3. Okay? Let's go ahead and do this one here. We'll do this box. 6, I to the first, j to the first, minus 8i to the first, 15j to the first, minus 20. Okay, so going through that row, I got 6 and 15. Oops. 6 and 15 gives me 3. Okay, they have a j, they don't have an I, but they do have a j, so that's j to the first. Okay, doing this row, I got 8 and 20. 8 comma 20. It's going to be 4. Since there is a negative there, that's going to be negative 4. Okay? All right? This times this has got to give you that. It's going to be 2i, but we can go ahead and figure that out if you want. So it's going to be 6 and 8, which 2 goes in there, which we would know. All right? This way, they have an I to the first, but no j. So that's why you get it. Once again, you multiply that, that's what you get. This is going to have to be 5. Okay? All right? Okay, so I can do 15 and 20. It'll be 5. Okay, this is a j, this doesn't. All right, so I got 3j1 minus 4, 2i to the first plus 5. Once again, if you can figure out the multiplication, all right, go ahead and use that. All right, 2i squared minus 6i to the first plus 1i minus 3. All right, let me show you an example if I just use my arithmetic skills here, how this ends up working out. Okay, so I got 2 comma 1, which would give me 1. They both have I to the first. So 2 times what would give me 2? That would be 2, I, 1. Let's check it. 1 and 1, good. 1 times what would give me 1? That would be 1, I. Okay, now it would just be 1. Okay, and how do I check my variables? Okay, you always check your variables vertically. This has an I, this doesn't, that shouldn't be a 1, okay? 2 times what would give me negative 6? That's gotta be negative 3, okay? Once again, I can check my, that doesn't have an I, that doesn't. So 2i to the first plus 1 times 1i to the first minus 3. So you can use your arithmetic skills if you prefer, and check your variables at the end, okay? I mean, you can start with your variables too, it doesn't really matter. I squared minus 15i1 j1 minus 16i1 20j. Okay? All right, let's get this first row. Okay, I got 12 and 16. Gives me 4. And since they both have I, this would be I to the first. Okay? So 4 times what would give me 12? That would be 3. Okay? All right? If you check the variables, they have I and just I to the first. There is no j there. So you can do that. Okay? 4 times what would give me negative 16? That would also be negative 4. Okay? This has an I, this has a j, so there's no variable there. Okay? 3 times what would give me negative 15? That'd be negative 5. Okay? Check my row here. I have j1. Okay? j to the first, all right? Once again, you could type in all of those if you wanted to, all right? And I'll just show that real quick. All right, 15 and 20 for that bottom row, that's 5. 12 and 15, all right? So you can use as much or a little arithmetic, 16 and 4. 16 and 20, sorry, which is 4. That's a negative touching that. So the rules still apply. See, negative, 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 negative. Nothing changes there. So I got 4i to the first minus 5j to the first, 3i to the first minus 4. Okay, so that's working with the box. And now in the next lesson, we're going to do that and make it with a trinomial.